Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Claudia, managing editor of The Bridge. And I know you all missed me last week, but I know that Marcus was amazing as always. And I'm very excited for today's conversation. Because for October, we're going to be focusing on the state of the Black millennial. And so we'll cover topics like politics, economics, health and wellness, culture, and activism. And so today I am joined by Merawi Gerima, the director of Residue, which I hope you've seen on Netflix, and Justin Johnson, also known as Yaddiya, the man behind the Mochella movement. So let's bring them in.
Oh
Hi.
yeah, what's going on?
Not much. Hey guys, how are you today?
Good to see
Good, great,
you.
great.
Yachty, what's up, brother?
I think you might be muted, Justin.
You hear me better now? All right,
Yeah.
cool. There we go. What's going on?
Awesome, awesome. So I'm very excited to talk to you both. You, Yadi, are working with music and you are working with film, both documenting and preserving the culture, as well as using that as a platform for activism. And so I want to talk to you both kind of about the film and the movement within that activist space. So, Marawi, why was it so important for you to frame Residue with that kind of opening?
Mochella exploded, while I was editing the film, and closely tracking all the crazy things that was happening in the city. That one dude talking about, if you don't like it, move to campus. That dude was talking about Howard University and all that stuff. It was just getting to be, background noise that I couldn't ignore. So when Mochella popped off in the way that it did, like I really had no choice but to like go film it, find a way to incorporate it into the film. Shout out to Yaddiya for making such a clutch move for the city and the culture.
Absolutely. And so, Yadia, Mochella has been already receiving a lot of like local coverage and then some national coverage. How did it feel to see it in film on such an international stage? And what do you think the significance of that was?
I mean, it's always significant to amplify the culture, whenever you have an opportunity to put it on a bigger platform. So it's always good to see, things like that happen. It's things like the BET Awards, you know what I mean? Things that were inspiration of, like your work is always fulfilling. At the same time, our mission always is to like push the culture forward. So that's our focus. So I think that's definitely huge for the culture to have something on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so gentrification isn't a new thing. The displacement of the have nots for the haves has been happening really since the beginning of time. But it seems like we're talking about it more right now. And many of the people one would deem gentrifiers are the same people applauding both the film and the movement. And so what do you think is different about today than in, previous times?
You know, I, I I I can't say it's different. If you go to my parents' work, both my parents are independent filmmakers. My mother, Shrikiana Aina, she made a film called Brick by Brick back in the '70s about Washington D.C. and about the way that black people were being pushed out of the city, or pushed out of their neighborhoods. At that time, they called it displacement.
Mhm.
Gentrification wasn't as widely used to describe it, but the parallels are strikingly, you know, similar. And so to me, I think that like beyond just kind of like the same material circumstance, the only if there's a different thing is now that we have more access to media, more access to being able to amplify this battle which which all of us have found ourselves into. It's within, and I don't know, I think that like um at the same time, I think that the city, DC specifically, its response to gentrification has been so incredible. And I don't know if I've seen, culture utilized in the way that it has been in DC as a way to fight back against gentrification. So that's new as well. Our own homegrown DC go-go culture being used as a way to fight back.
Excellent, excellent. Nadia, what about you? Do you think that there's something kind of different happening with the people in the city or culture-wise that is kind of propelling this conversation about gentrification forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the movements that have been going on definitely, you know, keeping the conversations going, opening the doors for the conversations to be had, and it kind of been giving Black people more of a voice right now in the city, and even like more political leverage in a sense. Hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Close this window.
The sounds of construction and gentrification.
Yeah,
Right
exactly. Right. Talking
Yeah,
about
right.
gentrification. There you go, right there. But yeah, I think like Black people have more of a voice and have a sense of belonging. You know, with Mochella, I look at Mochella as a intersection between culture and politics. So I think it's good that we've been able to create those viral moments and create that spectacle to get people more interested and kind of more, engaged, and even getting our, own people more engaged. At the same time, DC still is facing one of the fastest rates of gentrification, almost like the same as San Francisco. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
the cost of living is through the roof. So, I like to use this opportunity to change the mindset of our community and to just instill different um, tangibles in them and help them to really look to turn that passion into profit and create their own economies right now. So I'm really looking to use GoGo to empower. Saying that to say it's not going to change gentrification. At the same time, it's going to put our people in a better position to be able to thrive in this society under these conditions. You know what I mean? Because there's no really changing what's going on at the same time. But we have to have a voice and an outlet and resources. So we have to fight for those things. So I think we just created that space.
Absolutely. And so, I think that a lot of times we discuss gentrification within the confines of Black and white, but there are plenty of gentrifiers who look like the same people that they are displacing. I have been here for about 15 years and I would still consider myself a gentrifier. And so, what can people do to be a part of a solution and like creating more equity instead of unknowingly at times being a part of the problem?
I mean, let me jump in and just say that like I hear that often. Folks who want to who like to say that gentrification is not about race, it's about economics and things like that. But like you know, the truth is economics in this country falls along racial lines.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think that we see that clearly, in our day-to-day existence as Black people. And so although Black people, can move into a neighborhood, once some other Black people have moved out, I think that what we're really looking at in like films like Residue and this whole thing about go-go music and Mochella is the cultural destruction that happens when white folk come in mass into neighborhoods and make demands on the people who have been there. You know what I mean? For example, to turn the music down, you know what I mean? Changing murals that have been there for decades or years, which is what I see happening a lot to depict. There's one woman who came into into near Howard University, moved into a house, and just demanded that like this mural that was painted by kids of like Black historical figures be changed to incorporate and be more inclusive.
Wow.
That her son, yeah, I'm telling you, come on, you know what I mean? So like her son wouldn't feel alienated when he walked out his house, and she's brand new to the neighborhood. So like that's the type of like entitled, cultural destruction that white people bring that I don't see Black people bringing. Even yourself talking about, I see myself as a gentrifier. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of heads and shoulders over like a lot of folks who don't even see it as an issue. You know what I'm saying? See themselves as doing something
right.
good for the community, talking about we making it a better place. So I don't think the conversation is, what I mean, they try to make it simple, but they try to remove the race element out of it, but you can't.
I mean, a lot of times I don't know if y'all heard this saying, but they say like capitalism is racism. You know what I'm saying? So like that's definitely goes without question. At the same time, like I said, we also got to put ourselves in a position to win. And a lot of times in our community, we always begging and waiting on somebody to give us something instead of truly going out and making a way. And I understand that, we are far behind as far as like generational, wealth and family legacy and all these things. At the same time, I look at it like this. White people love our culture. Not even white people. The world loves our culture, right? So it's like we are the culture. Essentially, that's where the money's being made. They use our culture to make money off everything from the corporate level to the grassroots level. So it's like, why aren't we capitalizing on our own on our own power, on our own magic. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? Like, of course, people that are coming in, a lot of white people that are moving into the city, they are more invasive and feel like, oh, this got to be like this for me, and they do feel entitled. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, nothing can wipe away the culture. The culture is the DNA of an area. So I just feel like we need to really key in on that and utilize that as our strength to have a lasting place in the city. Because nobody's just gonna give it to us. No one's just gonna say, "Oh, all right, this is for y'all," or you know what I mean? Like you say, how could someone help? For example,
Mm-hmm.
you say you a gentrifier, how can someone help? Man, put your money where your mouth is at the end of the day, because that is what people are holding on to. Like no one just gonna give you money or give you, you know what I mean? Like give us some real resources. Protesting and all that stuff is cool, but at the end of the day, there's no point of mobilization without legislation. You know what I'm saying? And nothing's gonna happen without a budget. So if people truly do care about our community, put some money, redirect your investments into our community. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think yeah, at a certain point, I had to like start to read some books. You know what I'm saying? Like do some research, or start to ask questions about how it is that you in your day to day pursuit of your own happiness and existence have been weaponized against Black folks. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the start for some people.
No, I think that's a great starting point. That was kind of going to be my next question to you both. Like, what is one thing you might suggest to people at home that they can do? Because, there are many roles to be played, and, everyone might not be able to take the creative route or kind of use that platform. So, one would be educating yourselves, but like, what else is there? Like, how else can we be like more boots on the ground?
Well, let me say, I don't like to spend too much time answering questions for I guess we're talking to white folks. I don't like to spend too much time.
Yeah, I think we're talking to Black people. This is the
Oh,
Informer.
okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, like to me, like that's if that's the case, that's my preference is to just be as honest as I can to other Black folks, and whoever else may be listening in. If they glean something good from the conversation, that's good. But like I honestly, I can't tell. I can't speak to any other experience, than my own. But I think, yeah, Black folks, certainly can be weaponized as well. And, it really comes down to like, kind of, I don't know, like big questions, really big questions. Cause really we talking about gentrification, like Yadi said, we talking about capitalism,
Hmm.
talking about the movement of capital from one place to another, and basically Black folks ain't got it, and at a certain point you start to try and build it, but just like Yadi said, capitalism is racialized. You know what I mean? Like like it's a conversation about white supremacy. So I don't know. I think that like there are people. I'd like to say that there are people who are way more, you know, equipped than me to discuss like the solutions. For myself as a filmmaker, the best I can do is just describe the experience without providing really any answers because I don't have it myself.
I don't even think. Let me chime in and piggyback on what he's saying. I don't even think it's so much of knowing like it's never just one solution to a problem or just one thing that will turn something around. It always takes a collective effort. At the same time, even though Merawi saying like he's not the person that asks like what for a solution, at the same time he's showing you what you could do. How he's a filmmaker and he shed light on gentrification by making a film that's
Mhm.
now on Netflix that led us to this conversation. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
everyone is contributing what they know they can. Like you could tell me what you could bring better than I could tell you. You see what I'm saying? Like if you know what your strengths are, then devote them. You get what I'm saying? Like me, I know my strengths are organizing, mobilizing, promotion, things like that. So, I mobilized. That's my aspect. I didn't make Residue, but my work was able to be featured in a film that this gentleman made, you know what I'm saying, to also speak out against something that I'm also, we're all basically going through. You see what I'm saying? A product of essentially. So I feel like everyone can come in and tell us, not even tell us, but everyone knows what their offering is. It doesn't even have to be just you're a photographer. You know what I mean? You could make having that can be your offering. If you're an organizer, if you're good administratively, if you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like it's about doing your research and truly seeing like who's out there doing the work and get with them. And if not, then take it upon yourself. Take the initiative to start your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, also I could say that like the most interesting kind of responses, de-gentrification movements, anti-gentrification movements is really like been sparked by like young folks in the organized space that I've seen, you know what I mean? Whether it be, in Oakland or, even in DC. I think that like it goes, what it looks like is that, because it goes so hand in hand so well with police brutality and, racism and, you know, uh, every other thing that like Black people face. These groups who are kind of organizing in community spaces, these community organizing kind of spaces really develop the tools, you know what I mean, to like to say, for example, by attacking hunger in like certain areas of the city, by trying to help people with the basics, suddenly they're also a means by which people can be educated on why they're hungry or why they don't have the basics. And I think that these conversations kind of build into large things. So to be, if you if you ask me like state of the Black millennial, to me I think that community organizing really seems like the tip of the spear, you know what I mean, in terms of like fighting back against all these things, certainly gentrification, but also police brutality and everything else.
They say politics is a bubble up effect. I learned that from Senator Wyman of Oregon. Politics a bubble up effect. It's like how you see like trends in fashion and all those things sometimes trickle down, like politics bubble up. So grassroots organizing is definitely impactful beyond what people can measure sometimes,
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Agreed 100%.
Also, though, I think that like, when I think state of the Black millennial, specifically like in DC, or when I think of like Mochella, like what's happening to my favorite thing about what's happening is that it's young folks that are like taking up the task, like Yachty sat down and was like, I want to build something like Mochella and LongLiveGogo, you know what I mean? And I think that like it's like this generational transaction that's happening. It's like a relay race where like the young folks are taking on the battles of the older folks to say, all right, y'all brought it this far, and like let's see how far we can take it, with the tools that we have available to us. And so it's a really interesting thing where there's some people who are not tuned into the politics, but there are a lot of young folks coming out of the city, like DC born and bred, who are gaining more and more interest in the political, in politics and how they can affect the situation. And I think the way that like the George Floyd protest popped off, you know what I mean, in that massive way. And again, the Mochella event during that time was incredible too. I think that it is only further, kind of politicizing the youth of DC, and leaves them searching for unique and interesting ways we can kind of, use our culture to kind of fight this battle, from fashion to music to, drawing and, dance and all this.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also that comfort with technology that millennials have that really allows us to be more far reaching and even more creative with how.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Sorry. But it's not even that. It's not even that. We just go on. It seemed like because of the influences, this shit gonna sound crazy. I feel like because of the influences like hip hop and all those things, I feel like the younger generation are not. They're far away from that conditioning that a lot of our elders had, so they really don't care, and they more rebellious. They not playing this safe. You know what I mean? They're not playing this safe. So I feel like they just come from a different era, different influences, and they just are more defiant. I mean,
let me tell you.
Of course, our elders, no disrespect, like big major respect, like paved the way all those movements. You know what I mean? Back in the day, led by the youth, college students, and all of it's always been. Activism is not new. At the same time, I think it, like Merawi said, it has been a new wave of activism and a new way of activism.
Yeah, if you look at like, I don't know if we run out of time, but
you guys, we are running out of time.
My bad.
Things. We could honestly go on for a while, but I do want to get both of you all socials up on the screen. If you could just say them so that Lafayette can post them so people can follow you and stay in tune with what you're doing. So you guys both go ahead and share that. How do we follow you?
You can start, bro.
All right. Appreciate you. Mine is Gerima _gang on all socials.
Okay.
Mine is at Yaddiya. Please don't call me Yaddiya. YADDIYA. Or at LongLiveGogo DC. LongLiveGogo DC. Thank you, Claudia. Lafayette, Informer, Ma. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you both. And so we're going to close out with the trailer of Residue, and then we're going to have a musical selection by Daytona Saint Godfrey, brought to you by Verizon and Home Rule Records.
All right.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, you too.
And nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Sure.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Y'all remember me?
All right. Thank you all.
States, that was 2, that was 3. HR Records presents Tiny Stage, Daytona St. Godfrey. Let's go. Alright, let's go. Alright. Words cut on the roads, blurred out on the water, down the bird and roll. Tight, get them going, get them fast, finish the norm. Ain't no time what we on, feeling rebellion in my bone, feeling like that, feeling like I know how to go. Say words cut on the roads, blurred out on the water. Talking about destiny, talking about you and me. First you need translation, sanctify new relations. Say the words, cut all the roads, blurred out on out, out and burn holes. So tight, get them going, get them fast, there's no. Ain't no time what we on, feeling rebellion in my bone, feeling like that, I know how to go. Say the words, cut all the roads, blurred out on out and burn holes. So tight, get them going, That was track number 3 in Grave Stakes from my album King's Flesh, out now, all streaming platforms. Now let's go on to 4. How's everybody doing tonight, though? This is track 4, Water Out of Chaos, King's Flesh, Tiny Stage, HR Records presents Tiny Stage. Daytona St. Godfrey, let's go. Go. Water out of chaos, what you say? I see niggas trying just play King's Hole. Married to the cause of this I know. Oh, I know. Alright, why it is. Some swing close to it. Order out of chaos, what you say? Order. I see niggas trying, just like kings old. Married to the cause, all this I know. Alright, till the sun swing. Clocks with our hands that mock me. She dance on the camera watching. Got some dogs and garlic. Stars on feel my profit. Turn around, pair to a box spin. Can't do a nigga for option. Paradigm shift, nigga, one phone call, rotate it, make the blocks. Yeah, we all let the juices spin for you, you spin. Said we all feel the dough and you get what's spoopy. Said we all cherry it, I ride it, cherry it, I get chariot up. Standing on the tight and shoulder around me. Hey, go. Order all the cows, what you say? I see niggas trying just like kings, oh. Married to the cause, all this I know. Oh, I know, why till the sun swing closer. Order all the cows, what you say? Order, I see niggas trying just like kings, oh. Married to the cause, all this I know. Why till the sun swing closer. Order all the cows, what you see? I see niggas trying just like kings, oh. Married to the cause, all this I know. Oh, I know. Why till the sun swing closer? Let's get it. HR Records, Tiny Stage presents. Let's order all the cows. Let's go.